His latest title, following his participation in the recent Southern African Get in the Ring entrepreneurial competition, is Ringmaster. He is also the CEO and founder of his own company, Uncovering Greatness. For the past 20 years, he's focused on sales, business and personal development and worked in both the entrepreneurial sphere and corporate sector. But he claims to be a man of no titles, places little emphasis on that. What's important, he says, is to be the vision. But enough from me and more from him. Let's welcome Barry Mitchell. Great to have you in studio, Barry.
Great to be with you. Thanks for having me here.
It's a pleasure. First lesson I learned was that you place very little emphasis on titles, and that's important to some people. Why is it not so important to you from a human behavior perspective?
I think for me, one of my mentors, sort of taught me it's important to earn the right. And earn the right comes from being able to do what you do. Not necessarily from a title. And I just observe too many people in the world at the moment are, using their titles to drive authority and to demand authority. And a lot of times people actually haven't done what they say they're going to do. Mm-hmm. So, for me, title's not really important. I place a lot of emphasis on connecting with people, working with other people, helping create change rather than based on my title.
I always say it's a narcissist that craves the big titles, and sometimes it also creates limitations psychologically. I know from my experience, the moment I'm given a title that doesn't suit my vision to expand in every way that I can possibly in that position, I kind of feel limited psychologically as well in terms of that.
Yeah.
That I've just got to do that function. Yeah.
I think so. I mean, like you introduced me as CEO of my own company, for example. I'd go, what is a CEO? And essentially, I am my business. I'm a trainer and a speaker, and I train people. I've got a team of people that I leverage and that I work with. But I suppose I wouldn't term myself as the chief executive officer of a business where there's 4 of us involved and we do what we do in terms of that. So, sometimes titles used in order to open doors. I have the belief that if I need a title to open a door, then people aren't connecting with the person that I am. And it's my title that opens the door. But each to their own.
I suppose in certain respects, titles also kind of gives more information as to what we specialize in. What is your key objective, or the key objective to you as sales coach and business leader?
My key objective is to help people change the way they think. I truly believe that, my brand is called Uncovering Greatness. I truly believe that every single person has greatness within them, and that comes from the way we think. So it's uncovering who we are in order to create something different in the world. I ask the question, when I leave the world, have I left it as a better place through what I've done rather than have I taken away from the world? And with doing that, will I gain? Yeah. So it's helping other people become bigger and better and achieve, if you want, greatness within themselves. And by doing that, I believe that I'd be able to achieve it myself.
Mm-hmm. And you also emphasize that it's important to sell or to connect with people in order to get your brand out there. What do you mean by that?
I think sales is a life skill. And, we have a saying, a guy that mentors me from the US, a guy called Blair Singer, he coined a phrase called sales equals income. You sell and you earn. The more you sell, the better you earn. So in typical business terms, we sell, we earn money. Okay, the less money you have, the harder your life is, isn't it? So it stands to reason that the better you sell, the better you communicate with other people, the better you can earn. The more you earn, the better the life you live. Mm-hmm. But outside of business, let's talk about a relationship between a man and a woman. What's the income that a woman wants? It's love, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And essentially, what's the income that a man wants? It's respect. So when we're expending something and we want to get something in return, the better you are at selling and communicating, the better your income, the better your life, the happier your life.
So sell what you want to receive as well.
100%. Sales equals income, income equals life. When you take, if you just do a mathematical equation, sales is a life skill. Mm-hmm. So the better you sell, the better you can communicate with other people, the better the life that you can live.
It was really great to watch you in that ring recently at the competition as Ringmaster.
It was fun.
Yes, and you held the audience. I suppose art of communication is important in selling as well. What are some of the common communication challenges you pick up from participants that you work with?
I think the first thing, and I teach it in all the seminars that I do, we have a saying that says highest energy wins. So manage your energy, be in control of the energy that you have. And when you're doing what you're doing, what energy are you doing it with? Because that's a choice. I could have got up this morning, I could have had a really bad morning all the way to here. I could have walked in here really grumpy, but I had a choice on how I want to walk in here, and I could leave my grumpiness at the door and come in with a smile on my face of energy. Mm-hmm. So do we allow the surroundings to affect us and dictate how we're going to operate, or do we dictate to ourselves mm-hmm. through taking control and disciplining our mind on the energy that we want to have? So part of it's energy. The other part is it's all about them, it's not about you. So for example, when I was in the ring, my whole objective is, am I adding value to the contestants first of all, because it was their evening? Am I doing whatever I can to make the evening good for them? And secondly, am I adding value to the people that were in the room? The guests, the VIPs, the judges, everybody that was in the room, am I adding value to them? And it's all about them, it's not about me. Mm-hmm. And I suppose when you go out and put yourself in their world, and you start creating something for them, you'll get something in return.
That's really awesome. Yeah. Speaking of which, something I picked up on your program, on day one of your sales explosion workshop, you mentioned the little voice mastery. Yeah. Tell us a little about that. We all have a little voice somewhere sitting there.
100%.
The uninvited guest, I call it sometimes.
Some of us have more than one little voice. So, I was first introduced to Little Voice Mastery again by my mentor, Blair Singer. Blair wrote a book called Little Voice Mastery. Blair, in my opinion, is probably the number one sales and communication coach in the world. He's a Robert Kiyosaki advisor. I've been working with Blair for close on 9 years. And what is Little Voice? Little Voice is that thing in our head that tells us why we can do something or why we can't. We all have a little voice, and jokingly I say we have more than one little voice, but we do. It's that little voice. It's that little voice of fear. It's that little voice of reason. It's that little voice of doubt. It's the little voice. My little voice 9 years ago used to tell me that I can't speak in public, and I used to sell myself on a reason why no one's interested in listening to me. I won't speak in public. Today, it's what I do for a living, mm-hmm. And it's overcoming that little voice. There's a little voice that holds us back. Mm-hmm. Jim Rohn, one of the great personal development coaches of the past, Jim Rohn used to say, which little voice do you feed? Do you feed the one that's going to push you forward, or do you feed the one that's going to hold you back? Because whichever one you feed, that's the one that's going to grow. Mm-hmm. So it's a conscious decision around little voice. What does the little voice say? The most powerful sale of all that we have is the sale we make to ourselves. Mm-hmm. When you can sell to yourself, you can sell to other people. In the world of sales, can you sell to yourself why you need to get on the phone? Can you sell to yourself why you need to make cold calls? In the world of relationships, can you sell to yourself why you need to apologize to your wife for doing something, or you're going to sell to yourself why you're going to be selfish and not apologize? That sale is going to create a result in wherever it comes, and that comes from this. Comes from the power that we have between this ear and this ear. Yep. And the most powerful gap that we have in our body is between this ear and this ear.
And you're a fantastic public speaker today, and that was one of the fears I had to overcome here. I am. Thank you so much for that very, very inspirational discussion. Pleasure to have you with us.
It's been awesome being with you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thanks.